and all the water is hitting this barrel, and we're standing on the bridge. Getting soaked.
Yeah.
And then you walk home going, good squirt this year.
It is time again for another Would I Lie to You? This is my challenge.
Your challenge?
A challenge. Well, This Is My is always a challenge because we have 3 different stories, and between us we have to put our detective hats on and try and figure out who is telling the truth and who is telling the lie out of the 3.
This is correct, yes. And if it's James Acaster, it's always a challenge.
Guess what? It's James Acaster.
It's James! Yes, get him on board. Get him in.
I haven't told you this. I found out that apparently James Acaster has only been on like 3 episodes of this show, but they're just like some of the most classic moments. Get him back on there. Let's crack into it. We'll break the story up as we go. We'll try and figure out who of the 3 is telling the truth and who is telling a lie. And I just can't wait for James's section because it's definitely going to be the funniest.
Please welcome this week's special guest, Jerry. Sian, what is Jerry to you?
This is Jerry, and he was the policeman who came to investigate when I was heard screaming during a Christmas game of Twister.
Right, Sian's concerned copper. James, how do you know Jerry?
This is Jerry. He's the fireman who every Boxing Day soaks me with water during a festive game of squirt.
Right, James's fireman friend. And finally, Lee, what's your relationship with Jerry?
This is Jerry. He's the paramedic who ticked me off last Christmas after I landed my drone in his ambulance.
David.
You don't know how to fly a drone.
He does not know how to fly a drone.
Nah.
As the 2 of us are both drone owners, he doesn't come across as a drone operator.
Nah, not at all.
Even if he was, I guess we don't know his personal life. Even if he was a drone operator, the likelihood that he landed it in an ambulance, I'm going to say we have 2 potential truths and 1 definite lie in Lee Mack. Straight off the bat, I'm calling it now. Lee Mack's lying.
I'm going to take it 1 step further and say James Acaster is lying too. But let's find out.
David's team, where to begin?
Sian, you were playing Twister.
Yep.
What was the occasion?
It was in between Christmas and New Year, and me and my family had gone away and rented a cottage.
And why did you scream?
Because I think I had my left hand on red and right foot on green.
Tricky.
And we'd all had a few drinks, and...
What was the time? What time of day?
Oh, it was evening.
Right.
It was evening. I'd say about 10:30ish.
Okay.
And my uncle fell on my face and I screamed.
She lost me a little bit there.
Like, how loud is the scream to be able to hear from...
So, one part of me is like, a neighbour could have called the police hearing a scream. But a big thing of that story is that her face would have been quite muffled at that stage.
Yep, very true.
All right. Let's see it. Let's see what they ask her.
And you would scream, wouldn't you? You would scream.
Was he a friendly uncle?
Very friendly.
If you've been affected by any of the issues raised in tonight's show, there is a website you can visit.
It wasn't a horrific scream. It was fun. I was having fun. I was just a bit hysterical.
Could you reproduce it, Sian? Could an actress of your stature reproduce it for us now? Imagine Lee is this uncle who's a little too friendly. You're never that happy when he turns up, no matter how many presents you think, oh, it's Uncle Lee. Oh.
I like the way that you said she's a good actress, so she could play the part of the screamer, but I could just play the untoward uncle naturally.
So, there you are. Why don't you demonstrate the Twister?
What's James doing?
What is James doing?
Is
Did he edit something out, or is he just...
He's just on the
Christ-like?
Titanic right now. He's just... It's just
Oh man,
taking
what
it
did
all
they put
in.
in his eggnog?
Do you reckon he's just about to, like, jump off a building and skydive somewhere?
What is he doing? I'm so curious if you're actually, like, in the studio. Have they cut something out that he said, or is he literally just in his own little world doing this?
He's seen the snowflakes in the back. He's trying to lick them. He's trying to catch them with his tongue.
Way too many mushrooms for that boy.
Straight to the twister. James, what are you doing?
Playing the twister mat.
Is he winning?
He just waited for it. Like, I love this kid.
It's so good.
He's just like, they'll come to me eventually.
It's like his comedy comes from the rules of the Wedding Crashers playbook. Draw attention to yourself, but on your own terms.
Yes, but on your own terms. Rule 67.
It wasn't a scary scream. It was like a... Because I was having fun scream.
How did the neighbour next door hear it if it was just a little scream?
Did the uncle let out anything as well? Did
I
he...
certainly did not.
So what happens then? So suddenly there's a knock on the door.
Yeah.
And what happens when Jerry arrives?
Well, we're all just having fun at this point. We've all had a few drinks. We all invite Jerry in, see if Jerry wants a sherry. He was really lovely about it.
Right.
So is there a police station in this village? And they're all on duty at Christmas week, are
Well,
they?
there's always got to be a policeman on duty somewhere.
To look out for madmen like you pushing donkeys down lanes. Now, what about James?
OK, James.
All right, just before we go any further, there's always an element of these stories that I think of in the back of my mind of whatever the situation is, why did you stay in contact with this person, or can you get in contact with them to put them on the show? So I would have said there's no way you'd stay in contact with a random police officer that came to check in on you. But if it was in a small town and he was the cop there, it could be quite easy to call up, and there might be a half a dozen of them that work in that area. So she could have tracked him down, but would you want to? Would you want to go out of your way to find that person for that story? Which that I do not know about.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm completely on the fence so far. I was not sold at all of the story, but it could go either way for me still.
Just remind us, James, what it was that you said.
Jerry is the fireman who every Boxing Day soaks me with water during a festive game of squirt.
Oh.
OK. What's going on?
Squirt is a game.
Is it?
Yeah. 2 teams of firemen.
OK, so that's for a game of squirt. The first thing you need is 2 teams of fire.
And they go either side of a river.
I feel like James doesn't even know what the next sentence out of his mouth is going to be. He's like, 2 firemen, and they're on the other side of a river. He's just painting himself into a corner.
Yeah. And David Mitchell looks so much better with a beard. I think we said this so much better.
As we continue the ongoing chronicles of Beardface, David Mitchell's so much better with a beard. And on a quick side note, in my dream casting season of Taskmaster, I want to see David Mitchell.
Interesting.
I would love to see him on there. We've seen Lee Mack, we've seen James Acaster. David Mitchell needs to be a part of it.
Yeah. And you get a rope and you tie it up in a tree at one side of the river. And then you run it along and you tie it to a tree at the other side of the river.
Yeah.
But before you've tied it to the other side, you thread a barrel across it.
Of course you do.
You just thread a barrel.
Yeah. What if there's a fire in the local area during the lengthy setup for a game of squirt?
Well, he's not... They can't put out fires anyway. He's only volunteer.
What does that mean?
Sorry?
They're just a volunteer fire brigade. They're not allowed to put out fires.
What is going on?
What are they allowed to do? Just look at them?
They are permitted to pick up litter.
Where do they get the fire
is getting to
engines
him.
and everything from then?
Their fire engine's an old one. It's more like a ice cream van that's painted red.
The volunteers, do they have the uniforms?
No. The Kettering Volunteer Fire Brigade have a T-shirt and it has an emblem on it of a fire being put out by a beer.
Do these kind of places even exist? A volunteer fireman where it's just like a fraternity?
Maybe it's like what do we have here? Like no, that's a lot more. Like the CFS is like a lot more established than what I'm hearing with these ones. But
I would say that the CFS are allowed to put out fires.
surely, right? But like maybe they're not allowed to like be in charge of the main water hose from the truck. So, like surely they would have limitations as a not a full firefighter. Because like
Yes, no, I'd understand that. You couldn't go climbing up a massive ladder or something without all the proper training. But they're all acting like this is not a normal thing. Because it's weird to us, but I thought maybe like volunteer firefighters are kind of like that in the UK. But everyone here is acting like this is an insane story. Anyway,
that's true.
Let's hear more.
Talk us through the rules of squirt.
Okay. You get the barrel to the middle of the rope, right in the middle of the rope, and then both teams aim their hoses at it.
Are the volunteer firemen allowed real water, or do they just mime it?
No, they're allowed water, they just can't aim it at a fire.
Okay.
If there was a fire, they would have to turn the hose off.
Right.
So what happens next?
Someone's like, go! And then they both turn their hoses on and they aim it at the barrel. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to get the barrel, trying to squirt it along the rope so it gets to the opposition side of the bank. And all the water is hitting this barrel, and we're standing on the bridge. Getting soaked.
Yeah.
And then you walk home going, good squirt this year.
Right, now then, what about Lee?
How did you come to land the drone in Jerry's ambulance?
We have this really weird tradition in our house where we like...
I feel like he just started making up that story and then he somehow circled it around and created a somewhat reasonable game that may be played.
Like he also didn't say that how the guy squirted him. So like
I guess it was just within the game. Like he was one. He could have gotten anyone from the team to be a part of this show. So it felt like he was making up the story, which made me lean towards lie. There was a couple of times where the guy himself started chuckling a little bit.
Yeah.
But I can't say that's because he knows that he's getting made fun of by his friend James, or it's just because James is so funny. Like, can you imagine trying to stand there straight-faced through any James Acaster story?
No. Like
I couldn't do it. So, like, that's almost like that's evidence I can't use.
I don't think I'd be allowed to be the plus one on this show.
No, you couldn't do it, could you?
I couldn't stay like.
You'd have to block your ears.
Yeah, I actually would.
Really weird tradition in our house where we like to keep dry. And so I thought, what I'll do is I'll fly my drone, but I'll stay in the house. And the window was open.
No.
And I thought...
The window was open because it was a very hot Boxing Day.
The window was open. The window was open because my wife always has the heat on very high over Christmas and I'm not a fan of radiators, so I opened the window. Yeah. And I was practising in the bedroom. And I thought, I'm so in control of this, rather than go downstairs and fly it, I'm just going to go straight out the window.
Was the drone a Christmas present?
The drone was a Christmas present.
So, I know we said that he doesn't seem like someone who would drone. He doesn't seem like someone that's skilled enough to be able to fly it straight out of a window. No. Like, you and I have been droning for years, and we're not going to be putting our equipment through a window and then blindly just following the controller and let it go anywhere. No. Especially because I'm sure he's in like a somewhat built-up area where there'll be power lines and trees. You'd want to be line of sight for the most part. And, of course, his window was open on Boxing Day. Absolute BS.
And, like, like, it snows where... So it'd be snowing outside whilst you're flying a drone. You're not flying a drone while it's snowing.
Good call. Yeah, it could potentially be snowing as well, or at the very least, potentially raining during that time. Nah, just there's nothing ringing true. And I've never seen him do it before, but did you see him, like, really blinking his eyes?
Yeah, like, he was like, I'm telling you this story, and this is the details.
Oh, you thought he was winking? No, I thought it was like a nervous twitch of, like, he was lying, but I'm like, he lies all the time in this show.
Yeah,
But it just really felt like he was giving away a massive tell.
Correct.
Who gave you a drone for
Not
Christmas?
you, because you got me nothing.
Yeah.
It was my wife.
Your wife got you. It's a very romantic present. A drone.
She's heard me say it to her a lot during the year. Drone, drone.
Why was there an ambulance there? Had your wife called it as a precautionary measure?
The ambulance was actually the house over the road, and as I was flying the drone, I looked over, and a man was carried out on a stretcher. And I think, can't quite see what's going on, but I thought I'll have a little look at that. And my drone has a camera attached to it, so I fly my drone over. That's getting closer and closer. You know, I'm getting quite a good...
It can help, I think, when someone's just had a heart attack or something. Something shocking or strange can really helps them really get it together.
I thought so. And so I was watching it and I thought, this is interesting. And then he gets put in the back of the ambulance and the doors stay open. And Jerry goes in the back. I thought, no, I'll have a little look, see what's going on. So I get a bit closer. And now I'm hovering just outside the back doors.
Yeah.
And I pushed forward a little bit too much. And the drone went straight into the back of the ambulance, striking Jerry on the back.
This presumably hurt Jerry because the rotors of a drone are very fast.
Yeah, oh, yeah, he was a good 3 or 4 inches taller than this last year.
So Jerry spots you leaning out of your bedroom window with a remote control. What does he then do?
Oi! I said, give me my drone back! I can't really repeat what he said on television.
Okay, he swore.
No, he's French and I don't understand French.
All right, we need an answer. So, David...
I don't need to go into any more detail of how much that story was an absolute BS.
No, I'm saying it's Sian. It's Sian, or however you say it. Sorry, Sian.
Sean.
I'm saying it's Sian.
Sian is believable. Any reason behind it, or are you just feeling it?
The only one that's remotely believable or remotely plausible for any old person to have happened to. You know, like, this guy can't fly a drone, let alone fly it through a window, let alone fly it through a car window, which I'd assume was a lot smaller than a regular-sized window.
Into the back of the ambulance.
Even in the back of the doors, because they're, like, doors that open up, right?
Like, so it sounds like they were open and they were putting the person, like, into the back of it, and he wanted to have a closer look, and he went in there.
Yeah.
We don't need to justify any of it. It's an absolute lie. I'm just going to paint one extra fact for that story.
Okay.
He wanted a drone. His wife bought him a drone for the first time the day before. So it wasn't even a drone he picked out. It was a random one that she bought him. And the next day, on Boxing Day, he felt comfortable enough to be able to do those maneuvers.
Yeah.
Get out of here. Get out of here.
Yeah.
Absolute lies. All right, you're going to go with Sean. Yeah. I'm going to go with James because I can picture on that snowy, icy, rainy Boxing Day on the middle of a bridge, James Acaster just shaking like crazy. Saying, this is a good squirt this year. I can see that happening. I can see him and his weirdo friends doing that.
Yeah, sure. But then to get other people into it as well. Hey,
it could be like a small town kind of thing. Like maybe they do it every year or something. Well, it sounds like they do it every year. I think
like if I was in that small town, I'd get into it.
Team. Is Jerry Sean's concerned copper, James's fireman friend, or Lee's peeved paramedic?
No, I don't. I mean...
I think it's James's.
You think it's James's?
Yeah. I think it's Sean.
I mean, I think we're agreed Lee is lying.
Yeah.
The question is it James or Sean?
I think it's a mate of James's from the pub who was a volunteer fireman.
I'm not happy about this.
Oh,
because my instinct is that James is telling the truth.
Right.
But I know what that's saying publicly. I know what I'm believing. I'm believing a game that is played across a river between volunteer firemen with a souped-up ice cream van and squirting a barrel in which the locals come and stand and watch in just the place where they get splattered with water.
What's it going to be?
I think it's James.
You're going to go with James?
Yeah. Go on, I'm saying it's James.
Would you please reveal your true identity?
I'm Jerry, and I'm a volunteer fireman who soaks drains.
Yes!
Oh, Jerry.
Yes, Jerry is James's fireman friend. Thank you very much, Jerry.
Oh, wow.
What a life James Acaster must live.
Oh, man. Like, who has the more random life? James Acaster or Bob Mortimer? Bob Mortimer's got the years on him, but if they were the same age, I think they would have just as colourful of lives.
Where's the those two going up against each other?
Yeah, well, like, I guess James Acaster hasn't been on this show very much, but, like, are there any panel shows where they're on at the same time? If anyone knows of any of those shows, let us know in the comment section below. Maybe we're lucky enough and it is this show, but I don't think we're going to be that lucky.
Yeah, it would be great if it was, though.
Yeah.
But I'm sure we'll find out soon. What did you guys think of that? And who got this right? I reckon that only like a 50-50 split of people got this right, surely.
Yeah, 50-50 Sian, 50-50 James. Once again, no one's doing the Lee story. But that's really good. I actually kind of enjoy I love all the stories with Would I Lie to You, but I really like the This Is My challenges of trying to break them down. Like, this is a lot of fun. That was great, guys. Thank you very much for listening. And we really appreciate you guys recommending this particular video. Again, if there are any more Would I Lie to You videos that you want us to check us out, let us know in the comment section below. And if you want to see more reactions from WILTY, then please check out this playlist right up here for an ever-growing list of comedy goodness. All right, guys. We'll see you guys tomorrow for the next one.